Hi, this is Jeffrey Haynes for Nursing Policy, Politics, and Patient Advocacy. Um, Today, this is for second XP, talking about increasing the diversity within nursing and the diversity that's lacking from it. And cultural diversity has been researched in relation to nurses acknowledging the values and beliefs of the patients. But nothing speaks to cultural diversity in regards to the makeup of nursing and nursing programs. And in a superficial snapshot of nursing in pictures and without words, cultural diversity would easily be mistaken as the relative percentage of blonde, brunette, and auburn-haired Caucasian females on the web. Internet doesn't show the minorities. It doesn't show the different races, the male minority, the religious minorities, and the socioeconomic minorities that you can't see in a picture. The things that you won't see until you see the person and get to talk with them. The things that they're not wearing outwardly. And using a Google search for images of nurses in the workplace, I'm just simply amazed to see relatively few images of men and other minorities. And in a broader sense of the word minority, we can't always see the definition of minority or the quality of minority in a picture. A photograph will not reflect a nurse's particular religion outwardly, or even the socioeconomic class from which that nurse came. And the composite of the American Republic is not reflected within the composite of nursing. Susan Yates, in the May-June 2003 issue of the Journal of Continuing Education, reported that racial minorities comprise 28% of the total U.S. population, and that by 2030, they're expected to constitute 40% of the overall U.S. population. People want to be treated by and speak with people who are similar to them, somebody that can relate to them. People want to talk with people, not be talking to people. They want someone that understands what they're going through, their background, their priorities, their values. So again, getting back to the statistics, only 14% of RNs are ethnically diverse, and approximately 90% of all nurses are white. 4.2% African American, 3.4% are Asian, 1.6% Hispanic, and less than 0.5% of all nurses are Native American. Yet when a person seeks out health care, that individual is more likely to receive and integrate information from a person given that information who most likely understands and values their own beliefs and their living circumstances. And this goes back to the difference between talking to a person and talking with a person. To resolve this issue, we have to find a way that not only attracts minorities into the initial nursing programs, but it allows them to succeed within those very same nursing programs we're fighting to get them in. Affirmative action doesn't have a place in nursing. Nursing's about saving lives, giving good treatment, and helping people's lives be better. We need people with the skills, the knowledge, and we need to find ways to make sure that these minorities, that they do have the adequate skills. We can't pass people on a quality check. We can't have tokens. We have to have skilled nursing professionals who are right there at the highest level. We need a nursing profession that charges its constituency to not only protect, preserve, but also to resuscitate life and keep everybody equal. And nursing needs the best people, not the allotted token numbers to increase diversity. An example of this was the St. Louis School of Nursing's created an area health education center, and it works with 5 local high schools to recruit students from minority and disadvantaged backgrounds. And as part of this pre-educational program, the university partnered with the high schools and healthcare providers in the community. And this program works on multiple levels to make success. Students, they have to have an academic level of excellence within this program to stay in it. It doesn't mean straight A's, it just means they have to be able to show that they're learning how to study, how to adapt, and how to utilize their skills. Also, students gain real-life knowledge, and they acquire skills that will transfer into a future career in healthcare. but almost innately, they're going to develop a bond with these underserved communities, and they're going to acquire a desire to bring more to these communities once they go and get their degree. They're going to want to come back and show the people that they've already worked with what they can do because they have that bond. Karen Malio wrote in the Journal of Cultural Diversity of how in Massachusetts a project was funded with nursing workforce diversity grants that increased educational opportunities for individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds. The goal was to assist students to successfully pass the NCLEX and then to give back to their respective communities and provide culturally competent and high-quality nursing care to diverse populations. From 2007 up through 2011, the percentage of non-Caucasian students rose from 17% to 20.2%. And that may seem like a small percent, but whenever you consider that is a higher percentage than has been happening, that was a marked improvement. And the retention rate for those students rose from a remarkable 77% all the way up to 92%. And because minority, ethnic, and economic students were assigned mentors and tutorage to demonstrate that they were not alone in fighting this unnamed war to become nurses, not only did they graduate the program, they succeeded and excelled in the programs. These students had mentors and realized that they weren't the first ones to pave the road. They weren't the first ones to break all the barriers. If someone else could do it, they can do it too. And that was the whole purpose of the mentorship, was because it helped build a relationship of someone they could relate to and tell how they were feeling and get feedback from someone who had experienced the same thing. The other thing is sometimes that bond with the mentors, it makes the person more committed to the program more than they are to themselves, because it's harder to find an excuse to quit something when you have to tell it to another person and make them believe it and not just yourself. And as stated earlier, the media plays a pivotal part in promoting nursing as a profession. Educational and healthcare institutions alike have to realize that pictures say more than 1,000 words. They evoke emotions and subliminal prejudices. Firstly, more minorities must be displayed and documented in interviews as more than token props. The particular placement and positioning of minorities is quite influential in the mind of the reader or viewer. Is the minority at the top of the bed, the foot of the bed? Are they looking on as a bystander or the student while a Caucasian or majority person is doing the training? And most of the pictures within the nursing bulletins, they only show the male nurses in a group setting. You don't see them in a one-on-one setting. And then the male in a group setting is always perceived to be the leader, almost as if we want to mistake the male nurse not as a nurse, but as another professional. And this is sometimes just because of the image we have in society that male nursing is weak. It is not manly, and we need to challenge that. We need to show nursing in all of its aspects, and that it's not just bedside nursing. Nursing's everywhere. In a group setting, the black nurse needs to be moved from the foot of the bed to the top of the bed. Needs to be shown working with more than patients of the same race. We need to start showing that minorities can help take care of the majority as well. But then once they become nurses, I feel that minorities are going to always be standing up and taking care of the people that they grew up with, the people that they relate to, and can say, this is my people. This is who I can relate to. In websites and magazines, minorities need to be seen in a more active nursing role. Johnson & Johnson in 2002 began a media blitz that recognized the value of nursing. And in their media imagery, most of their pictures and their images show minorities. And it was done to promote diversity in nursing and to show that nursing is for everyone and it's everywhere. And in doing so, someone out there may have seen those commercials and those PSAs and can relate to them, and they won't put away that dream of becoming a nurse. Many of the things you can do to promote diversity don't cost a dime. We just need to acknowledge diversity and work with mentoring, work with building relationships, and just making people aware that they can be a nurse. And nursing could promote diversity if it compensated an individual, and not for their skin color, but for their skills. For example, a Hispanic nurse, we shouldn't pay a Hispanic nurse more for being Hispanic, but what about their Spanish speaking skills? Every hospital has to have a translator, and that costs money. It also costs time to get access to that translator. And some of the retail stores, they pay their Hispanic employees more money than they do their regular employees. And it's not because they're a minority, it's because they have an extra skill. They can speak Spanish. They can speak with people that not all of their employees can. So we need to start finding out what is the individual factor, the individual quality that a minority brings to the table, and reward them for it so that they feel that they're not a minority. They are a minority because they're special with a talent, not because of a disqualifying factor in them. And some may say that it's prejudiced or unfair, but don't we really want to show everybody what the best is in everybody? Whenever we're working to promote diversity, maybe we wouldn't have to sit in class so much and talk about diversity if we were working with diversity. Working with nurses who were different from us to show just how much we are alike. Because in the end, we're all created differently, equally.